Hey everybody, it happened again. I was in town running my errands, got back here, and there's a whole bunch of plants that followed me home again. This phenomenon seems to be happening more frequently. I don't know, are you noticing the same thing at your place? Because it's kind of strange. But since the plants are here, I'm going to take this time to introduce you to them. Starting with this one here, this bright yellow one is a San Vitalia, also called a Mexican zinnia or a trailing zinnia. And it's not really related to the zinnias that we think of, but it is a great plant. And I've been thinking about it all week because this is a plant that we haven't carried for the last couple years, and I haven't even had it in any of my containers. I think it's probably been 8 years since I've grown it. And I was thinking, gosh, that might be a really good one to bring back because it's a nice plant. It's easy. I don't know. It's just a good one, and it's great in kind of the heat like this. So I don't know. I wanted to bring it back, and I was thinking about it when I saw it. I took that as a sign that I need to try it again. And I think it's good that I grow it right now too, after not growing it for so many years, because that's going to remind me all the things that I love about it, and if there's anything that I don't like about it. So I've got this one, and I'm going to plant it with this Archangel Dark Rose Angelonia. And this is one that I picked up at Fresh Coast in Rogers City a couple weeks ago, and I just haven't found something to put it with, because that's one of the problems that I find with some of the pink Angelonias. They tend to have like maybe a little bit of a mauve or purple kind of cast to them. It's just, that's how almost all of them are. And so I sometimes have a hard time matching them because they don't always match with all the different pinks sometimes. They can sometimes look a little funny with a red or an orange if you wanted like a pop of pink in there. It always looks good though with yellow. It looks good with burgundy, with purples and whites. So I mean, they go with a lot, but sometimes it doesn't go with the things that I always think of putting them with. So you know, I didn't plant it, but then when I saw this, I thought, oh, nice combination. They both love the sun. They both love the heat. So this is going to be a good little combo. So get this one out of here. And yeah, this one's been in here a little while. So I'm going to rough up the roots a little bit on it just because, you know, normally I don't rough up the roots because if the roots are healthy and the soil's healthy, I usually don't have any problem with them. The roots will find the healthy soil. But in this one, it looked like it needed a little attention. So get that in there. So there we go. And then we're going to put the San Vitalia in there. Oh, there we go. And let's see, it was kind of flopping a little bit. I noticed it's a little weak on there. I had gotten these at Meijer. Now, a lot of the independent kind of nurseries and stuff around here, pretty much almost out of annuals. We have a couple of annuals left. The ones that we have are really nice, especially some of the geraniums and the lantanas looking really good, and some of the Angelonia we have. But we don't have the selection that we had last month. So it's you know, a good thing for me to be able to run out to, you know, I don't usually like to shop a whole lot at the box stores, but I will say that Meijer in our area, they have some of the best plants for a box store. They take really good care of them. They look fantastic. So if you're out there and if you need replacement plants after the heat wave, I would probably start at Meijer because I'm pretty impressed with their plants, I have to admit. The prices have not gone down though. They're all pretty standard still. So there's no big sales going on right now, at least not there and not at some of the other places. Other plants I want to tell you about, I did find these Rex Begonias, and I really like Rex Begonias. They're really attractive. They tend to have these great colors. This one's got a great silver and kind of lavender color going for it. It's really beautiful. And for us as growers, sometimes Rex Begonias can be a little tricky only because the quality of begonia that we get in can have a big impact on how well we can sell it, because we've had years where we've gotten them in and they're beautiful and we plant them up and they just root right away and take off and they look fantastic. And then we've got them when they come in with just barely one little leaf and they're on life support and we have to baby them, and you know, it's kind of stressful because we're not sure, you know, how well they're going to make it. We got to make sure we don't overwater. It gets really tricky. And so a lot of times we're just a little hesitant to add Rex Begonias because our suppliers have been inconsistent over the years. This year, Proven Winners is introducing a couple of Rex Begonias, and they're really very interesting. They're quite attractive, and so I'm tempted. I want to see them in the trial garden before I make any commitment to them. But I have to say, it is tempting because in the past, any of the begonias we've gotten from 4-Star Nursery, which is where we get our Proven Winners plants from, they've been really strong, and they're usually quite large already. So that, knowing that they would likely come in a better condition, makes me have a lot more confidence in carrying them. I don't want to get them and then get these bad plants in that we can't, you know, usually we can get them looking good, usually like June 1st, but we really need them looking good May 1st when people are coming through and buying their annuals. So I just got these because I love the color and I wanted to kind of get back into the Rex Begonia zone. So that's why I have these. And I think I'm going to plant them with this Rocapoco Rose Double Impatient. And the pinks and the lavender, they're not a perfect match, but I think it's still going to look pretty darn good together. So I'm putting them together. And this is kind of part of my Rocapoco collection kind of thing. And this will be the fourth one that I got this year. And that's only, I'm getting them because I think we're probably going to carry them next year. So I want to try the different colors, see which pinks I like better, because there's quite a few pinks to choose from. And, you know, so I'm getting more familiar with them, I guess is what I'm saying. Just so happens that the new Proven Winners Grower Guide came in this week. So I was able to open up to the Rocapoco page, and sure enough, there is a rose, but it's listed as new, and so is the red. And I thought, I know there was Rocapoco rose and red in the past. So I went to last year's grower guide, and sure enough, they're right here. And even the rose is listed as a bestseller. So I thought, that's weird. How can it be a bestseller and then be new this year? Usually, if they're just kind of replacing it, they call it improved, and they still put new by it, but it has improved, but this one didn't. So then I looked at the plant patent numbers, and they are different. So they're replacing them, I guess is what I would say. And so I thought that was interesting. So that sent me down a rabbit hole, and I'm a total plant nerd. I hope you guys don't get like freaked out or you'd think that this is too corny. But I started looking up the plant patent numbers. And that's when I learned something that kind of broke my brain, because the plant patent for the Rocapoco and the Glimmer Impatient, which I've been growing them side by side to compare them, they share a plant patent, which in essence means they're the same plant being sold under different names. And that's pretty common in the plant industry. So I'm not shocked by that. It's just that I've seen at least 3 different varieties of Glimmer growing either in the trial gardens or that I've grown myself. I've had at least 4 different types of Rocapocos that I've watched grow, and consistently the Rocapocos were performing better, but they're really the same plant. So, you know, what am I seeing? And it's not the name. I assure you, I noticed with the Rocapocos that I was growing, they had more flowers, they were more upright. My Glimmers tended to have bigger flowers, but they tended to point down. But then when I went through the list, because then I started going crazy, because I went through all these, then I pulled out the ball catalog and looked up all the Glimmers, and I realized that I hadn't grown the same colors. So that might be part of it. That could explain part of it, but it actually doesn't explain it, because usually like the series, when you grow that many different colors, there's more similarities between them than differences. So it would be really strange that it just so happened that the 3 varieties of Glimmer that I grew or that I've seen would be the ones that didn't perform quite as well. So I'm a little confused. I'm not sure how that happened. Now, it could have to do just with the origin of the plants. So it might be just a better provider at the front end, so they just grew better down the road. I don't know. It's very confusing to me. But it was a bit of a slap in the face to realize that I've been comparing basically the same plants and talking about how different they are. And they're not different. So it's a little embarrassing in some ways. But then I think, no, that's kind of what, you know, it's all about. You know, I'm trying to figure it out. So I guess I'm not really embarrassed, but it is kind of, it feels a little strange that I've been trying to compare the exact same plant with itself. So, and that I've noticed different results. So one thing about the Rocapocos, when I get them at a lot of places, they're a lot of times really narrow and tall, and there's not a lot of leaves down at the bottom, and that's because they grow them really close. But don't worry, because every time that I've planted them, and this is the case with a lot of impatiens, once they get a little bit more light and more airflow, then they start to grow outwards a little bit more. Now this pot might be a little bit small for these 3 plants, but I mean, in general, the Rex Begonias tend to grow pretty slow. So, you know, they can get quite large, but that's usually like in the second year, like if you bring them in, because they can be houseplants as well. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking, so this is, I'm going to consider this the back of the plant and this the front. Begonias a lot of times will have they have a kind of a dominant direction that they grow in. So I usually try to look for that in any begonia that I'm planting, just because I do want kind of the prettier side or the more colorful side facing out. So this one clearly, this is, I would consider this the back and this the front. Now, if you do plant it backwards, I mean, you'll still get a good show out of it, but oh, this one didn't root all the way to the bottom. And then we'll get this in there. Now, I said it didn't root all the way to the bottom, but there are roots down there, so it is a well-rooted plant, so that's not at issue here. We'll get that in there. Now we'll just see how these go. I will give you guys a little bit of an update later on. thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. Been some really great comments and discussions going on in the comments section, so I genuinely appreciate it. You guys are fantastic. I love your enthusiasm, love your commentaries, and some of your thoughts on some of the plants. I know you guys really like the update video that I had done, so I'll keep doing those. I have I have 50 containers I got to show you guys yet, so I only showed you 3 in that one. So I'll give you a little spin of this one as well. So thank you guys all for watching. Talk to you all very, very soon.